But shout out to people. It's Monday, Georgia, raining, and kind of rough. Overall, got my coffee. I don't drink too much coffee all the time, but I do drink it. Shout out to the people. I got a shave, but it's November, no shave November. But when it comes down to it, man, take care of your body, take care of your health. They got cliches saying too blessed to be stressed, but it's actually a thing. You know, stress push a lot of age on you. Health issues, complications. You don't know where all this stuff is coming from. It's coming from stress. A lot of times, man, we get to points in life to where, we worried about stuff, even with money, working a 9 to 5, trying to make ends meet is hard. Especially, for men, it's 10 times harder. A single mother as well, but, for men, it's 10 times harder because we got to take care of the responsibility of the family. Me and my friend, we having this talk this weekend, and he was saying, if the lights get cut off, they're going to look at the man saying, why did he provide? And I told them, they're going to look at the woman as well, saying, how could she be with a man who has the lights cut off? So, it's catch-22, cliche, whatever you want to call it, but when it comes down to it, like, the man still picks a lot of the burden and, issues about stuff as well. It's just never really pushed that much talked about, but when it comes down to it, he has a responsibility, just like the woman got a responsibility. And both of them should be working for the greater good. And a lot of times we go through these processes in life where, we're not at our best. We don't really have help. Nobody's there for us. I'm listening to what's going on. And it takes time to get back to yourself. And the crazy part is when you don't have like a real close circle, it takes a little more time to do it on your own. And I'm saying that to say, if you're not married or you're not in a relationship and you don't have a close-knit family or friends, it's harder to work things out on your own. It's actually real hard. I'm good, thanks. It's hard to work a lot of stuff out on your own, but, for the point, it takes time. This dude is like hammering down, he don't even know the police behind him. But, I mean, the thing is, it takes time. Frugal Mama's going on. And the thing, a lot of times, my name, a lot of times it takes time for people, in situations to get over stuff. Because you really don't have, the help. So naturally, it goes over the process where you got to start mentally getting yourself together, breaking things down by, just exercising things for yourself. Getting, family to help you. They not there. So it takes that time for you to actually, going on, Breeze, getting that time for you to actually, go through the process. Mentally, talking to yourself, going over exercise. Because when it comes down to it, man, like, trying to help yourself be a better you, and you don't have nobody else, man, it's a lot of work. And sometimes people get lost mentally. So You got to work that process for yourself. And like I said, if you ain't got nobody helping you do things, it takes a lot out you. Swing here, get some gas real quick. But reason I'm talking about this is not because I'm going through anything bad in my life. It's just at the end of the day, man, I already know when it gets cold, it gets hard out here. And, yeah, I mean, basically, more or less, as a man, we go through a lot. And just in general, hold on right quick. Let me set this up. Yeah, man. So when it come down to it, yeah, don't miss one. It's hard for a lot of people out here because you got to understand the main biggest issue is, help, family. I was looking at this post where a lot of times, man, we having our talks. Family is not even family no more. That's why a lot of people doing it on their own. Back in the day, you had Big Mama. She, grandma to most, but she would help you out. The grandmas now don't want to be grandmas. I was telling my wife the other day of one of our oldest have a kid, and she was saying, no, 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 I'm too young to be a grandma. I'm like, for what? What do you mean? Yeah, I'm telling her, I'm like, man, what do you mean you too young to be a grandma? I'm like, when it comes down to it, your biggest issue is you don't wanna be old. I'm like, a lot of people don't know about age is wisdom, you know, and even with my wife, she don't want to be old. I'm like, I'm prepared for it, you know. You don't have that close knit family no more. You don't have nobody to talk to. I got cousins. My brother, I'm pretty much, he always put me down as the only person for contact of anything. We don't have the best relationship, bump heads a lot, but at the same time, he's my older brother, and I take care of him like I'm the oldest. No shade to him. I mean, he's to a point to where he's just getting back right because, you know, he was in that time where drugs was a big thing, where he wasn't really on drugs. He just alcoholic, drinks a lot. But he was back in that time when they was doing that, heavy drinking, drugs and all that. And it took him all these years to slow himself down. So mentally, people be in their own way because they don't got nobody to talk to. Therapy is not a big thing in most communities, not even in most houses. And so self-medication is always gonna be the bigger option. You wanting to sacrifice, to forget the pain. Like who's really there to help people? We have people we can reach out to, but then they're gonna talk about you. So you just feel like you rather do it on your own. Like even me being married and, mentally, sometimes, man, I just be feeling alone. Like I've told my wife several times, I said, this is the thing. I said, if something were to happen with our finances, what's going on now? If something were to happen with our finance, what am I to do with, needing money? I gotta go get it. I gotta go figure it out. But when it comes to my wife, she can always get more money from me. Like, we go on vacation, I mess with my wife, I'm like, you owe me money back from this vacation. The vacation we just went to, where was it? To South Carolina, Hilton Head. Supposed to be getting ready to go to Dubai next year. We still trying to make it to the point of going to Costa Rica, because we know somebody in Costa Rica. Appreciate y'all for hitting that like button that's coming on in. Tamika, what's going on? And the crazy part is this: when it comes down to it, I gotta do it. If I ain't got no help, like I told my wife, she goes and do DoorDash. I told her from now on, she do DoorDash, she got to take the kids with her. She get mad at me about it, but like I told her, there are people getting kidnapped. I'm not subjecting you to go out there. If you want to make some money on the side, I don't have a problem with it, but be safe with it. I prefer her do, surveys that I found for her. They have sites where you can read Audible books and get paid for that. I put that stuff on my site several times on my YouTube. Surveys that you can fill out. People who like playing games at different sites, you can go on to play games. I put all this stuff on here. All the apps, pretty much, that I could find that's easy, that's relative to you making money. Google it. I've always told my kids the same thing. But you want to do DoorDash to get out the house and move. I'm fine with that. But you got to take one of the boys with you. And the reason being, like I told her, they're kidnapping people nowadays. I don't even want you doing it in general. I mean, that's the main reason why I work and do all this. But if she wants to do extra and do for herself, that's cool. I just want her to be safe. And when it comes down to it, like I said, mentally, I got to be prepared to where if something happens or comes up, I got to come up with the money. I got to make it happen. And a lot of times, we don't talk to our wives, or we don't even talk to nobody about the stress that we go through as men. Even with this election just pulled up, I've been dropping my videos about Trump and Kamala stuff, both sides. I can easily say who I voted for, didn't vote for it, but you pretty much know by the comments and things that I put in the videos who I voted for. But in the end, it's like me being a man, whether I voted for Trump or not, I'm getting all the backlash. Like, it comes down to it. What type of situation are we in? Like, what's going on in the households to where these women are just like, and then I just took a clip from a short I was going to post on my video to where they're talking about not messing around with men for 4 years. I'm like, who is that affecting? Most of you women want to get married and want the man to pay all the bills. Is that a good thing to starve men out from having sex? I'm like, y'all gonna wait till the next 4 years? Like that's not gonna affect most of the men, because that's gonna make them save their money. You the women that want to go on food dates and most of them don't got no money. Like me and my friend, we've been arguing about this pretty much the whole weekend. And he's saying that men aren't stepping up being men. He's married, and I told him, you've been married for so long, you don't know how it is out here in the dating market now, which I don't either, but I talk to enough people to know, like, he's in his circle. He don't know nothing but his circle. And I tell him, you're in a bubble. You literally think that men aren't out here trying to provide and do. Of course, you got the percentage of me. Like I told him about the percentage of men that are having sex. He was like, "Where do you get this 10% and this and that?" I say, "Okay, prime example. You got Nick Cannon, Future, NBA YoungBoy. Those just the three. Those three guys have multiple kids. Oh, let's throw Cam Newton in there since, he popping them out too. And he want more. Those four guys have a multitude of kids. Because of the look or the money, they're having kids. Now, let's go to back in the day, this guy named Prison Bae. Prison Bae, dude with some green eyes. A lot of women like how the dude look. This dude, all these women were gawking over his picture. He didn't have a lot of money. He was in jail. But because he was labeled Prison Bae, and all the women liked the man because of his look, that was a situation. And he was like, "Oh, no." I'm like, dude, you either got to have the money or the look for women to deal with you. The average guy is not messing around having sex like that. So he couldn't fathom through his head. He was like, "Well, I never have any problems." I'm like, "Yeah, because you play the field, you play the dozens, you go after anything from a 4 and up. You just don't deal with 3s on down, And that's what they call the last call for alcohol, where most guys hit 3s on down because they can't get the 5s and up. But who are we really talking to? Because when you're young, your mindset is to do what? Is to be what? What's going on, Spun? What's going on, Jerk Riaz? But when it comes down to it, a lot of times we don't have these discussions like this because, like me, being a married man, I can have discussion and not be kind of biased. Like, I can throw the women. What's going on, Robert? I can not really throw the women up under the bus because I'm married. I'm not bashing the women, going at the women. I'm just stating facts, and it is what it is. But, like I said, we have this talk. Man, I'm telling this guy, I'm like, a lot of women on getting married. And he's like, no, these men are being soft. I'm like, you have a percentage of men that are being soft and what they call homosexuals that literally want women to take care of them. Those aren't the guys that are getting married unless the woman proposed. And even with this proposal thing with women nowadays, like, I was just looking at Dr. Umar talking about women wanting men to be mind readers instead of saying, "Hey, when are we getting married?" My wife, she approached me like that. Lisa J. Stop. What's going on, Flat Bronze? But this is the thing. Like I told my wife before we got married, I was like, well, technically I want to get married early, but I don't want to look kind of creepish, because me and my wife, we got married within the first year. I met her a few days after my birthday, because me and my wife's birthday is around the same. My birthday is October the 6th, hers October the 11th, Libras. Don't really do the zodiac stuff, but when it came down to it, that next year we got married after her birthday on the 12th. And that was the thing. My wife was a good woman. All throughout that year, we spent time with each other. We kind of, learned each other here from there, but I know she was a good woman. Out of all the women I dealt with, it was always genuine. We would have our talks. Of course, everybody bumps head in a relationship. That's how you see the true colors of people, but that's how we got to, where we were. I told my friend, I was like, most people don't really get to know the person. They either just wanting to have sex or, and it's on both sides. Women want sex just as bad as men do, but, they kind of hide it better, I should say, because you know, as Ply say, you just thinking with your, and that's what gets your head. That's what the other head. That's what get men in a lot of trouble. You know, and when it comes to situations, women just want it as bad as men do. We bump heads with this. And like I was telling my friend, when it comes down to it, media, social media, and media has played a lot part on this. Atlanta Housewives, the women want to be treated a certain way, but the point of the standard, the men got to be treated a certain way too. So that's how we clash with this, you know. And the women going back to, oh, you men want to be pampered. You want. I'm like, nobody even said that. I just want to be treated good too. What's going on, third? If I'm sitting here in a relationship and I'm either paying all the bills or not paying all the bills or whatever, how this thing go. But if we're in a relationship, I like stuff too. You ain't gotta buy me no flowers or nothing, but hey, it's the thought that counts. You might, hey, like my wife, and this is gonna be funny. She made me a sandwich, but my wife made the sandwich the way I like it, and I laughed at it, and I told her, I was like, man, it's funny. Something simple as makes me happy. Believe it or not. He cut up some tomatoes, onions, put some avocados on there, and put the seasons on there. And it was just a basic turkey sandwich one time, and she cut up all the vegetables, put it on there, put spinach on there. I like spinach more than lettuce. So I mean, the sandwich to me was perfect. But when it comes down to it, when it comes down to it, he picks a person. Everybody deals with a person. But, the anxiety of going and stressing. I know a guy right now, this guy's in his 50s. Pretty decent cat, makes good money. And I think I told the story before. He sat down one time downtown Atlanta, and he was off work that day. This was at the time when he owned his own business. And he was like, man, nothing to do today. I'm just going to go ahead and take off. Took off. Ended up just sitting downtown. I think he had got like 3 or 4 women number on their lunch break. And, called them all, talked to them. First one, she was kind of cool. They went on a date. The second one, he talked to her, and she was just like crazy. Yeah. But I mean, just crazy. And like she was just going off, dude. Like he was like, man, I don't want to be with this woman, because they even went on a date yet. She telling him how she, from the moment she looked at him, she liked him. She was talking about marriage, and both of them in their 50s, and she saying that she still want to have a kid. He was like, what you mean? You gonna adopt or something? He was like, you sure your eggs still good and all that? And he was asking, did you feed your eggs and all that? And he was kind of like amazed by how this woman wanted to be with him so quick, and talking about marriage and all that. From this one incident of being with him, and just like point blank, she's at the age where she knows she don't have no time to waste. So she literally got to get into a relationship and see what her options are. And he's like, man, she moving too fast, you know? And that's the thing when it comes to most people in their relationships, man. Like, honestly speaking, dudes are looking at situations now like, man, is the juice worth the squeeze? And when I was telling my friend that, he was like, oh, that's just some crap. You should be there for a woman. And I'm gonna give a little break to this, because me and him had this discussion. I'm just gonna say this woman. So we had this discussion about a woman we know, and the woman has 4 kids, he's saying that the woman, and loosely we talking as men, so women don't get offended. So he's like, man, oh, she just wild and she not tame because she ain't had the right man come in her life. And I'm like, what? Like, dude, she had a good man. They back and forth on the relationship, and he told her the moment she have a kid, they're done. And this was a real good guy. She didn't want this guy because he didn't let her do what she wanted to do. But the other men who she had babies by, they would let her get away with little crazy stuff. And I explained to him, what about that man she was messing with before she had the kids? Oh yeah, man, that was a good guy and this and that. I'm like, so the so-called taming, which he's saying that she didn't have a man to kind of slow her down. That's what he's basically saying by the taming. So that's what I'm saying about the women. But the point is, she had a good man. She just didn't want to be with him because he would give her restrictions on like, nah, you can't do this, can't do that. Now she has these 4 kids and she want to go back to this guy. And the guy was like, nah. And like I was telling him, she's just like most of the women having good women. I mean, most of the women that had good men but didn't pursue them. And that rules apply for the men too, because I know some dudes that had good women, and they was out there. One of my friends, this dude had a good woman, and basically you could say that that was her first dealing with him, and somebody tricked her out of her position to say that she need to experience other people before she, convinced that he's the one, and tricked her out of her position, and now she ended up having a kid, and now she out there. But the point of reference is this: when it came down to it, that guy was like messing around and doing stuff and got caught up. And at the end of the day, it's like he had a good woman. He was just out there playing the field. And I'm like, why? I mean, truth be told, when I was messing with my wife, that was my thing. Like, if we was together, we together. Like I told my wife, I tell my wife, even to this day, if I'm going to cheat, I'm going to let you know. But what I got to hide for? If you ain't doing right, I'm going to let you know. I'm going to tell you, hey, the relationship is not cool, it's getting out of hand, this and that. But you can't get mad at me at certain circumstances when I keep telling you that the relationship is going bad because of this or going bad because of that. I've warned you. I gave you different times to like rectify situations, just like with me. If I'm doing wrong in a relationship, I know my wife's going to hold my feet to the fire. Like I told her, if I don't come in here, pay these bills, treat you right, what you going to do? You going to leave, right? She said, yeah. I say, so if you around here not doing right in the house, not take care of me, not showing me no attention, I'm going to look at you the same way. And there's only so many times you can talk about it, and then it gets to a point where talking doesn't help anymore. And that's where a lot of times mentally, where men kind of check out. That's why I say a lot of times men don't want to go to therapy. We don't know how to deal with a therapist. We don't know how to structure ourselves because we've been taught to be strong and deal with things and just tough it out. Like these women say that these men are soft nowadays. And how's that soft that a man wants to open up to his woman? Oh, they're just soft. My daddy wasn't like this. But look at your dad. Your dad probably never really had that close a relationship with your mom. And it goes back to it where a lot of women in their relationships, they seen the bad and thought it was good. That's why a lot of people, parents, never really was together. They was there just to survive. I mean, that's what it is now. It's going to turn out because the way society is going now, a lot of women not going to be able to afford no house by themselves. A lot of men are not going to be able to afford. They're going to get together just to survive. Because this only going to get worse right now. As it stands, man, it's only going to get worse with the finance, the crisis coming down. And don't let us have a war. Dude, people going to be trying to hold on things just to survive. And I already told my wife, I'm like, I'm definitely moving out of this and going back into going over the road because I'll make more money, Locally, I'm there for the kids, and my kids gotten to a point where I can go now. I'm just not getting them back straight. They're going to high school. I plan on going back over the road when they got to middle school, but their grades weren't right. And I'm like, me being a dad, it came out to be my number one priority, man. That's my number one priority. You know, and I had an excellent father. But the thing of it was, I never really got that relationship with him like the way I want because he died when I was young. I had uncles, family members, coaches, all raised me from men to the best of their ability, man. But when it comes out to it, yep, shout out to the vets today. My uncle was one. You know, that's my favorite uncle, man. I actually did his funeral, man. I'm thinking about that now. Like I planned his funeral out, everything. Like, and it was crazy because months before he died, he was always telling me, man, he wanted me to plan his funeral, and I'm like, why are you talking like this? And we having our conversation, man. Like now, man, you just hit. I need to jump off here anyway, man. But when it come down to it, like I said, even as men, we gotta talk more. We gotta go through the fire, man, and we can't do it alone no more. You know, Michael Bazin wrote that book, Men Cry in the Dark. I mean, that's a real thing, man. Like with me being married, I talk to my wife about stuff and we work through things. I'm mostly her counselor than anything, trying to help her through things in life. But appreciate it, Holmes. But when it comes down to it, a lot of times, man, as men, we need to start talking more and find somebody you can trust, man. Don't be just talking to anybody. You know, even your friends. Like, don't you know I had a friend, I would say, man, this dude been friends for over 20 years before we fell out. Me and this friend been friends for over 20 years and he fell out. Mm. You and your wife separated? Oh man, sorry to hear that. Yeah, yeah. If y'all had kids together, man, just do it for the kids, man. I mean, I shouldn't even have to say that. I mean, if you had kids, you already got it. I mean, like I say, I know I got to get out of here, but a lot of times, man, whew, like having that friendship, man, it means a lot. Like that was my best friend. Like right now, I got friends that I'm associates and everything. I'm cool with, man. But it takes a lot, man. Like in the relationship, far as with family and stuff, man, to kind of work through things. But overall, man, you got to work through it and get it done. But peace to everybody. You know what I always say when I get out here? We here, we gone.